Good morning and welcome to The Global Consumer, the True Story. My name is Logie Fitzwilliams and I'm a partner and head of international business at Brown Advisory. I'd like to welcome Francois-Henry Benamies, who's president and CEO of Audemars Piguet in North America. Our second panelist was a real inspiration to me as a young consumer analyst and as a true heavyweight in her field. Dana Telsey, CEO and Chief Research Officer of the Telsey Advisory Group, a leading research, trading, banking, and consulting brokerage firm focused on the consumer sector.
We've been seeing out of consumer trends lately, business is pretty good. From high end to low end, we've had a very good spring season. The weather definitely was a bit warmer, but what's really driving it, it's product innovation. Whether it's the newness of color and apparel, whether it's iPads, iPods, iTouches in the whole world of Apple, whether it's remodelings of homes that are beginning to go on, it certainly feels a bit better than it has in the past. And we should be able to see some level of continuity given the element of design is really the key to get consumers to spend.
I would say, first of all, there is a big difference between the European consumer and the US consumer. Actually, when I came here, I made the same mistake that every single European person makes when you come here. You say, you know what? Language is not that far, and I think the behavior is pretty much the same. But until you spend some serious time here, you see the differences every day. And the European consumer will have a tendency to, in the high-end world, will have a tendency to hide when the US consumer is going to show. I'm not saying show off, but show without being embarrassed when the European consumer is going to buy stuff and never show them. You're going to see maybe when the sales of very high-end cars over the last 2-3 years have slowed down so much. And for high-end watches, pretty much the same. When in a difficult economy, and it started a little bit in the US, but not as much as it would be in Europe, you cannot be the CEO of a company and say, oh, I just bought myself another $150,000 watch when you have to let go so many people at the same time.
Given that in the US, we believe there are 400 good malls, 800 good strip centers, so everyone is at or near capacity except for what their online presence could be, certainly Asia is the next frontier for them. Biggest obstacle so far is just hiring talent, hiring salespeople, hiring regional managers. We know even companies like The Gap, who are doing it on their own over there, without a partner, there's a limit to how many stores they could open on an annual basis because they don't have the sales force intact. Companies like Coach, who's looking at second and third tier cities where there's a lot of opportunity, the exact same thing.
Yes, when you see the increase of gold and platinum and all these kind of things over the last years, and it's not even the only thing because the entire watch industry, Swiss watch industry, is roughly 20 billion for the world. But it grew from 10 to 20 over the last 10 years, so very fast. And all these little suppliers everywhere in Switzerland are not, and we are not ready for that. So every single part, whether it's a gasket, a glass, a crown, hand, everything is going up. And on the high-end watches, all these materials are in gold or in white gold or in rose gold or in platinum. So yes, there is an impact. And we start for the first time to see, over the last 2 years, very recent, a sort of thing where people start to compare watches and brands to brands, which was never happening before.
What we've been seeing in South America and in Latin America essentially is it's been the discounters who have had some of the biggest presence there besides the Avon and some of the beauty companies. So what we've seen from our companies, they're first trying to figure out Europe and then going on to Asia. Latin America has been the third tier, but it has been brought up more in conversations lately than it has in the past. And overall, obstacle is for them to get to know the markets as well. It's been Walmart dominated for the most part. We've even had the Tiffany's of the world talk about Latin America, but not really have a full expansion strategy in place as of yet.